When I look back at why Payday 2 and games like it have experienced such incredible longevity, thriving in its 10th year now, I'm always drawn to the modding community. The old motto of "if the devs won't fix it, we will" has always been instrumental in improving upon and adding to the Payday experience on PC. I'm positive the guys over at Starbreeze have been taking notes over the years, with Payday 3 in mind, but just in case that hasn't sunk in yet, today I want to draw attention to one of the most talented modding subsections of that community, the map makers over at Mod Workshop and Payday2Maps.net. You see, with nothing to do but wait for that Payday 3 trailer coming this summer, I've turned to the wonderful world of custom maps to get my new content fix, and have learned plenty in the process. Not only have these map creation teams always been just as creative as the official game devs, as of 2023, the content they're coming out with is just as polished, accessible, and well written as any Heist DLC I can think of. So, this one goes out to you guys who've kept the Payday experience fresh as the day it released for 10 long years, as we explore the very best custom heists Payday 2 has to offer. Let's start this video off with a certified hood classic in the hardware store. This heist is over 4 years old now, but is still maintained and updated, showing the love and care that went into crafting this top tier heist. Even on this list of some of the most inventive and polished heists, this one goes the extra mile in feeling like an official DLC release. Not only does it have 9 new custom achievements and brand new weapon skins and mask patterns, it also has its own custom soundtrack, Tommy Danza's Framework, which samples chainsaws to get you in the mood for a hit on a hardware store. I can't stress enough how complete the whole package is though, and that's without even stepping foot inside the heist. As you might have worked out by now, this is a hit on a hardware store that's being used as a front to smuggle weapons and drugs around the country. As such, it's kitted out with its own hidden underground vault that we need to locate in order to really hit the payload on this one. That means the core objective of this heist is to locate the warehouse's blueprints to find the vault, access the loot, and escape. Of course, it isn't that simple, as the building is jam-packed with gen-set night guards and police response just around the corner. As with many of the best custom heists, this one can be taken on in either loud or stealth, meaning that the map layout and objective design has to be spot on to carry the heist from either approach. This is where I think this custom creation excels beyond any other on this list, with some seriously satisfying traversal options that make stealth and loud more engaging. The claustrophobic interior section is balanced out by a more open and uncovered outdoor car park, which brings a perfect balance to the gameplay and opens up many different playstyles. Whilst the eventual objective does default to a classic loot and escape formula, it's how you get there that really impressed me, taking full advantage of this heist staging by forcing you to steal tools from the hardware store itself to complete certain tasks, with some objective variation and randomization to add to the replayability. Beyond this, I also found pre-planning to be impactful and well balanced, giving escape options, loot secure options, and making objectives easier to find, balancing the loud and stealth experiences even further. This heist is also fully voiced, with clear and concise instructions given by Hazalaw as the mission contractor. I actually enjoyed how direct these were, as I was often able to solve most objectives just from listening, instead of having to wait for a question mark to appear as modern day Locke loves to hold your hand. I also thought the difficulty of this heist was well balanced across Plan A and B, with surprising verticality and well designed cover. Outside of the occasional crash upon restarting stealth, I didn't struggle at all with stability on this heist, and found that it made use of its medium to large size map to good effect. My overall takeaway was that Hardware Store could easily slip into Payday 2's regular heist rotation, and I'm not sure a new player would even be able to tell it apart from the official developer-made creations. Next up, let's talk about a heist with a completely unique premise, the Botched Bank. Unlike Brooklyn Bank, where we go loud with purpose, this heist is the result of a catalogue of errors by a seemingly rocky contractor, fully voiced by the Philly piano. Conceptually, the idea of a loud-only heist by way of cock-up is exceptional, and the Botched Bank goes a long way to sell the idea that everything on this heist is doomed to go wrong, even adding an in-law reason for it by insinuating the ancient loot we're going after might be cursed. I think this premise is exceptionally well maintained throughout, from the cowardly bank manager who tries to slip away when you're not looking, to the escape driver who manages to heat street himself into oblivion after forgetting to give you the thermite. On one of my playthroughs of this heist, that led to one of the best environmental kills I've ever seen in Payday 2, so thanks for that experience. Trust me when I tell you, nothing goes right on this heist, and having to adapt to that is genuinely the core fun of it. As with many Payday 2 map creations, this one comes with 3 custom achievements and went to the effort of fully voicing all relevant characters, including the bank manager and poor Mick the driver. Whilst the voice work was good, the audio leveling is a little off in places, and there are times where two characters talk over each other, which feels like a shame. Also, I can't help but wonder how amazing a botched heist like this would be whilst maintaining stealth. Gags like the thermite just knocking the bolt handle off would hit so much harder in stealth, where you'd have to come up with a more delicate solution on the fly. This is not so much an opportunity missed, as I think this heist works perfectly as a loud-only experience, but more so a suggestion from me that this premise might work even better in stealth. In any case, the map layout is really tight, with plenty of windows and flank routes for the cops to take, an intense close-range interior section, and a wide-open escape, which will present different challenges to different builds. Without spoiling too much, I really like that there's an objective you can fail early on, which results in a harder later section of the heist, instead of forcing you to retry it. This kind of dynamic difficulty is something Payday 2 doesn't have enough of, and works perfectly here. Overall, the best thing about this heist is its core premise of adapting on the fly and trying to save a mission on the brink of failure, which is as fun and hectic as you might expect. Now, Village Farmer Management Simulator by Matt Helzor, as you can see from these screenshots, is a welcome change of pace after those high adrenaline heists, or so you'd think, until you notice it was uploaded on April 1st. No, this is not a quiet farming sim built in the diesel engine, it's something much, much better. A complete like-for-like rendition of Resident Evil 4's iconic village, setting you up in a heist that's straight out of Mercenaries mode. Whilst it lacks the Ganados and Leon Kennedy, it makes up for it in bulldozers, as this heist starts fully populated and evolves into a short and sweet holdout-styled heist with a few secrets to find throughout. Once again, it's fully voice acted and even has a little Rocket City reference if that floats your boat. Of course, the real beauty of this heist is in how faithfully it has managed to port over the iconic Resi 4 location, and that alone should be enough to encourage you to give it a go if you're a fan, even if the heist only lasts for about 4 minutes before the chopper arrives to force your escape. That is, I suppose, my only slight gripe with this heist. It's such an amazing shell of a map to heist in that it seems a shame more hasn't been done to flesh out objectives or try to go further in emulating the Mercenaries mode. I'd hardly call it wasted potential when the standalone map is of such high quality, but I still feel like it's deserving of a deeper experience. There are also a few minor collision issues with broken cover, but let's be fair here, this has to be one of the best April Fool's jokes ever concocted. Not to be outdone though, for April 1st, 2023 releases, we simply have to talk about the Paint Parable. Now, if a sarcastic, narrative-driven, pacifist Payday heist wasn't what you clicked on this video to see, that makes sense, bearing in mind I'm not sure how much it'll assist your Payday 3 gameplay. In that case, click ahead now, as coming up next is probably the best custom heist I've ever played. But if you're an open and minded heister who enjoys all genres of games and are after something truly creative when you next boot up Payday 2, the Paint Parable is simply unmatched. Of course, heavily inspired by the Stanley Parable, this heist, if I can even call it that, is unlike anything you've experienced in Payday, using diesel in ways I never even considered possible. Fully, and might I add, expertly voiced with thousands of lines of dialogue, each playthrough is an absolute treat, taking surprising twists and turns depending on your decisions, and really pushing the engine to its limits within a branching story that will be enjoyed even more by fans of the original Stanley Parable, and those of us who are well acquainted with the ups and downs of Starbreeze's history. I absolutely refuse to spoil the genuinely compelling narrative beyond that. You're going to have to see it for yourself by getting one of the 16 possible unique endings. Some of which have me following painted on adventure lines to my ultimate demise, being berated by the narrator for failing to stand up to my boss Bo, whoever that is, and even being punished for trying to turn on my free flight mod and fly around. Genuinely, that one took me by complete surprise, and this is exactly what the Paint Parable is all about. Its visual gags and level warping mechanics work far better in Payday 2's rusty old engine than I ever imagined, and each ending brings with it its own air of humour and satisfaction. Some of the jokes are so meta, they're even hidden away inside the mod page itself. Although there was one in particular that I didn't get, something about body pillows and enhanced joy, but that can't have anything to do with me, right? I mean it when I say the Paint Parable is unlike anything else you can experience in this game, and until you've given it a go, it's almost impossible to understand what makes it so great. A modern masterpiece right before our eyes. But if you're after less sassy works of art, welcome back hardcore heisting lovers, you sure as hell missed a trip on the last one. Avalon Shadow is, in my opinion, the best custom heist in Payday 2 history, bar none. I can't believe it has taken me this long to try it out. No word of a lie, this isn't just one of my favourite custom heists, this is one of my favourite heists in the entire game, full stop, and you'd be hard pressed to discern it from official content. Best of all, it's completely free. Avalon Shadow is a lore-friendly heist, furthering the untold story of the shipping contractors Avalon and Kknowley and their illicit competition. The lore nerd in me was immediately sucked in by this premise, and it did not disappoint. Starting off in a unique mansion-style setting, we move from a domestic heist all the way over to a warehouse robbery before finally ending up beneath the earth in a secret compound. The scale of this heist is unmatched, and as the stakes keep rising, so will your enjoyment. It's frantic and demands a wide set of heisting skills from the player across each setting, as they bring something completely new to the table. Of course, it is approachable in both loud and stealth, with different objectives and ways to tackle them across each playstyle. The team behind this magnum opus of custom maps really went the extra mile, creating different paths to progression for each approach, resulting in a completely unique experience no matter how you choose to tackle things. Where I believe it is unmatched though is in its stealth design. Contractor lines are so clear and concise, with some of the best custom voice work I've ever heard in Payday, such that you're guided through each objective but never patronised, and still need to consider what's required at every turn. Each distinct section of the heist presents a different puzzle that you'll need logic and your heisting skills to successfully solve, with the final compound employing a completely original time laser mechanic that elevates this heist to another level, at least for me. I also love that loot can be moved throughout the level by finding these vents, a smart way to condense the looting process on a map as expansive as this one. It should come as a surprise to absolutely no one that Avalon Shadow was the 2020 winner of the PD2M mapping contest, and I'm told it's only improved since then. Boasting the most engaging mechanics, impressive visuals, and intelligent map design, this heist has been expertly crafted to the point that I'm not sure what can top it, even in Payday 3. Genuinely blown away by this one. I implore you, if you're going to try anything from this video, please don't miss out on Avalon Shadow. Last, but certainly not least on this list of Payday's most impressive custom heists, there's no way I'm not talking about the Constantine scores, the most new gameplay you can install in a single mod. Now at version 4.0, this mod contains a total of 24 brand new heists, following around the contractor Constantine. I'm all for quality over quantity, but this is one of those rare occasions where you can have the best of both worlds, as each heist has its own unique setting, premise and narrative line, which you can follow throughout. The quality here is self-evident, and with the release of version 4, Curious has shown why they are indisputably one of the best map creators out there, by fleshing out these already well-designed heists with the addition of the Valerio Cartel, a brand new enemy faction that plays unlike any other. Not only do these guys use unique tactics, they have the ability to use Molotovs against heisters, forcing you to change up how you approach cover. The addition of these units makes combat within these heists that bit more challenging, resulting in further replayability if 24 heists weren't enough for you. Focusing back towards the heists themselves, all of them are fully voiced by Constantine and will take you to an immense variety of different locations and settings, with stealth an option for some. The caveat of having such a densely packed mod is that you will be noticing familiar structures and objects throughout, as many of these maps make full use of base game assets and locations, likely to save on development time. However, this isn't a criticism, as these assets have been used intelligently to craft entirely unique layouts and heist mashups I've always wanted to try out. For example, Smackdown is Mall Crasher, but on a map that takes elements of Jewelry Store, Crossroads and Hotline Miami, making the destruction even more satisfying. It's also worth noting that these are more bite-sized single-day heists, generally taking between 7 and 15 minutes to complete. That is by no means a complaint, as their shorter durations have allowed for greater polish and improved detail to be weaved throughout. Not every custom heist has to be a 30-minute long slog through painstaking objectives to be fun, and I've found that Constantine's heists really benefit from their clean and concise design. I'm also a big fan of the hockey mask wearing backup crew we're able to call in on these jobs, offering fully functional allies to the Payday gang who actually make a difference and help to add to the carnage. The only slight issues I ran into across all 24 of these heists was the occasional frustrating invisible wall, which either seemed misplaced or was ignored by crew AI, creating some issues when attempting to revive them. I could also gripe about it having samey objective loops between heists, relying on some sort of hack or drill before securing the loot, placing C4 and then taking out marked targets, but Payday 2 is limited in its overall objective framework, and these feel like appropriate ways to achieve most tasks we're given. I would, however, love to see them incorporate more of those puzzle elements that have impressed me so much with other heists in future creations. I'll be honest though, even after searching for nitpicky critique, the value proposition of this mod bundle is just too good. Trust me when I tell you, this is the perfect way to bridge the gap before Payday 3's release with hours worth of top quality heisting. That's all I have time for in this Custom Heist video sadly, but by no means is it the end of Custom Heists on this channel. Feel free to take another look at previous annual mod showcases if you're itching for even more map recommendations, and please do give me your recommendations for Custom Heists to keep tiding me over until we finally get some Payday 3 news. I want to say a huge thank you to each and every person involved in the creation of these mods, from the writers to the testers. I have had a blast playing through them and look forward to even more in the future. That said, those of you hanging around for one more recommendation from me, how about an Apex Gaming PC? If you enjoyed these mods, I must have pretty decent taste, and when it comes to purchasing a supremely powerful rig for all your Payday playing needs, look no further than the link in my description. For everyone else, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all very soon in the next video. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.